Welcome back to the Breaking and Kintsugi Repair of Stone series. This week we're going to talk about Lapis Lazuli, and you can see here several different variations on this stone that I offer currently in the shop. This stone is an extremely ancient stone that has been prized in many cultures, including the Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Minoans, the Chinese, the Greeks, the Romans, and even in Central and South America, several cultures, including the Incas. It's also believed that Old Testament references to sapphire are probably references to lapis lazuli, because sapphire as we know it today wasn't actually known in that part of the world until the times of the Roman Empire. So it would not have made sense for them to be referring to that sooner. The actual title of the stone comes from the Latin word lapis, which means stone, and a Persian word that means blue. And I can't actually pronounce the Persian word, but that's where the lazuli piece comes from. As you can see, it's a very blue stone that often has whitish or brassyish yellow type flecks in it. And it is not actually a mineral or a stone on its own. It is a combination of minerals, including lazurite, which is made up of sulfur and sodium aluminum silicate. But it also includes diopside, calcite, pyrite, and all kinds of other things. And it's this mixture that gives it the flex and the sort of the textured look that it's so famous for. It is found to some degree in the USA and in Canada. However, the best quality stones are considered to come from Afghanistan and Pakistan. It's also found a very premium deep blue color is found in Argentina. And there are some lesser quality, not quite as vividly blue variations found in Chile and in the former USSR. So this does have quite a wide distribution. So as you can see here, I have several different shapes. One of the most popular is this small heart. But this is a stone I have a harder time finding. And these are the ones I currently have, but I can't promise that any of these would be constantly in stock because none of them are regularly available. But for today's episode, we are actually going to look at this particular stone. It's kind of a triangular shape. It has a flat back, which makes it a little bit easier to work with. And then the hole in the top where we'll attach the black cotton cord. So let's go break this and take a look at how it breaks, which will give us a little bit more to talk about the history of how it's been used, and then we'll look at putting it back together. And this is what we get after breaking. As usual, I put the curved side down, the flat side up, put the chisel on the back, hit it with a hammer. This is what we got. This is very typical for lapis lazuli. It often breaks just a single break, although I do occasionally get more complex breaks in it. You can see here, as we've seen in some others, there is the very slightest of marks on both sides. That's where the either end of the chisel lay across the stone when I hit it, and it leaves just slight scrapes. One of the most interesting things I think about how it breaks, some are worse than others, but I get a lot of this powder almost off the surface. And the reason I think that is notable is that in ancient times, in addition to being used as a gemstone where it would be cut and mounted in some way, it was also used as a powdered form. So Cleopatra used it ground up as eyeshadow. And in the Middle Ages, this powdered version was used in creating ultramarine blue colored paint. And that was typically what was used when painting the robes for the Virgin Mary in various paintings, including those that are in the Sistine Chapel. So that's a particularly interesting, I think, historical note about lapis lazuli and ways in which it has been used. So the break itself is actually fairly easy to put back together, since it's just the two pieces. You may note that there are some very slight gaps in here where some of this powder has come off. But for the most part, it's just a straightforward repair. So let's go get this put back together. I've got a little more cleaning to do to make sure I get all of this powdered stuff that wants to come off so that the repair actually holds well. So let's take a look and see what we get. And here is the final result after it's put back together. As you can see, there are some of the slightly wider areas where part of the stone crumbled. Again, the marks from the chisel on the back and the repair line. But you can see how nicely the repair goes with these, slight colorations of the inclusions in the blue. I've always thought it was such a nice combination. And then, of course, the gold color against the blue itself. So that is the final result. To see this stone or other Kintsugi repaired stone items, please visit our shop at akintsugilife.com. Thank you so much for joining us.